All right. Let's do this.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Sally sells she shells by the seashore.
Now we're having fun.
We're having almost a little too much fun.
Okay.
All right.
Welcome to Life in Season with Paige here.
And Liz.
Your favorite besties. A show where conversation sparks action.
In each episode, we'll dive into how we navigate living with the moon cycles, the philosophy behind our choices, the seasonal rituals we use to tackle our goals, and any questions that we have for each other.
So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, like and subscribe, please, to see our new episodes drop into your feed every Monday.
On today's episode, we're going to be introducing ourselves to you all, going over our show structure, and whatever else comes up.
So, let's dive in. All right, guys, here we go. So, we're here.
We're here.
Recording our first episode.
I can't believe we're finally here.
Sitting down, we've been running in circles in our brains about all the ways that we were going to accomplish this. But
the biggest understatement of the year.
It's taken weeks to get to this point, to be transparent with you guys. Honestly, months of talking about it, and at least a month and a half of just planning it and, brainstorming and brain dumping. And we are just so excited to finally not only be starting this podcast, but I think I can speak for both of us, to be just having something hold us accountable for the projects that we want to accomplish, the rituals that we constantly talk about, but this kind of forces us to integrate them.
Yeah.
So we will just start a little bit about what our mess is. How we both are feeling right now. We're kind of stuck with what we want, and why we're doing this. So I guess I will start.
Yeah, take it away.
Start with my mess.
Your message, you mean?
Yeah. That is a hashtag. Guys, quote that. This is a hashtag right now. All right.
I did not come up with that.
Wow. It was perfect timing, nonetheless. So yeah, before we get into a little bit about who we are, there's been so many things that I've wanted to accomplish, big dreams, and I feel like family members, old friends, not working on myself, not having the self-confidence I needed to have better relationships, whether that's with a significant other or a friend or a family member. And I've gone through so much of breaking down what I thought to be true in my head and reframing that. And now I feel like I'm finally at the point where I'm like, I'm nowhere near perfect.
No one is.
But I finally have the awareness of myself, of my past, to be like, okay, you know what? Hell yeah, I can do this. I can write the book or the stories. I can put myself out there and take risks and be nervous as shit the whole time, but at least do it anyways. And it took a long time of feeling confident enough to do that. And so for me, this podcast really is the accountability. Because I just found in the past when I spoke about it online and when I started taking action, it started happening faster. And I was able to really just watch it all unfold in a way that gave me wider perspective, I guess, and deeper introspection. Those are big words in a tiny sentence. So right now I have all of these goals lined up. Liz and I have been more talking about, again, similar to the podcast, about a children's book that we both need to just rent out a cabin and go write.
Yes.
But I actually, in the last couple of months, have actually, written little snippets of it, played around with graphics of it, thought about it. I've started practicing writing again. Something that I've always been afraid, I think, to admit to myself. And literally, I remember, Liz, we were at a dinner party or something, and you're like, and Paige is a writer too. And I was like, Skirt, what the hell did you just say about me? Did you just call me a writer? I'm like, oh my God. I don't think that's true, guys, but I do like to write. And I'm over that little bit of insecurity to be like, yeah, I write. And I'm not published, and I don't do all these other things. But yes, I would definitely consider myself a writer now. I love that creative side of myself. I bought a little I'm gonna call it a didgeridoo. No, that's an instrument, not what it is called. Because I'm just thinking of like didgeridoo. And anyways, I really want to play around with actually not being afraid to put playlists out there on Spotify eventually, like actually kind of DJ. It's just a really fun form of self-expression. I hear all these different things of where it could go in my mind. I love to dance. Liz likes to also like to kill a little bit. We can talk about that later. And I'm just at this point where I'm ready to just be free in it, to let it not be perfect, to let it maybe go somewhere, and maybe it doesn't, but it's something that I did and that I'm proud of, and that it's not stuck in my brain of like, oh, that would have been really cool to do, and then I missed my moment again. And I'm also getting over timing of feeling like I missed out on not accomplishing enough in my 20s. Liz and I are both in our 30s now, so I keep saying like 31 is the new 21 because I really do feel that way. Like I have this youth about me, and honestly, I think I look and feel better than I even did at 21.
Definitely.
So this is my time to play and to still feel young and to go after the things, because I'm excited to see what comes out of it. It might not even be the end goal I originally thought of, but it at least is putting me on the path to get there.
Right.
So that's how I feel about my mess, about where we're starting and what we're doing. And we can talk a little bit more about what projects we want to accomplish in a second. But tell me about your mess, Liz.
Mine is pretty similar to that, where you have been and where you feel like you're going. Because I feel like we both have kind of been sleeping in a way. We both were so focused on totally different aspects of our lives when we were in our 20s. And for the longest time, you know, I was a creative writing major in college. I'm not published. I graduated. I didn't even graduate. That's a lie. I'm two credit hours short of actually graduating.
Better than me, girl. Better than me.
But for the longest time, I felt like my creativity was dead inside of me. Yeah. And the thought of wanting to try to be creative was so far away. I couldn't touch it. It wasn't tangible. It just didn't live inside of me like how it used to. And that was just from, you know, so many different extenuating circumstances in my life at the time. But as soon as I started kind of doing this uncoupling of toxic relationships in my life, toxic self-doubt that I would play into in my internal dialogue. Yeah. Once when I started working on that and shifted my energy to be focusing on happiness and being more present in the moment, that creativity started to come back alive in me. Yeah. And we wanted to collaborate on something creative for a really, really long time. And I never thought it was going to be a podcast.
No, I didn't either.
But we're here, and I think we both had that creativity wake up at the same time. And it's really nice to feel that side of me again, because I was scared for the longest time. It was just gone. So I guess my message, my point of that is, if you feel one way now, things are going to change. That's the only permanent thing in life is change. Yeah. So don't sell yourself short of what you want to do, what creativity or project or dream lives inside of you. Just, we're here recording a freaking podcast together. It's wild. So if it happens for us, it can happen for anybody. And I think that's, as far as a collective conversation goes, a lot of the content I've started to consume on Instagram or YouTube or podcasts is having similar conversations like this with your friends on a deeper level, or just with experts on, pick a topic. But being able to also contribute to that larger collective humanity. Let's all try to be more kind to each other and work on ourselves, and through our own self-confidence comes inspiration for others. Yeah. So I'm excited to be a part of that conversation with people that, I look up to on social media platforms. Not that
no, who are scared, but they're doing it.
Yeah. Exactly.
They had an idea in mind, but it's not sitting in their notebook anymore. They decided to just try it out.
Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. As soon as you get it out there, you can focus on other stuff. Your energy shifts and you kind of free yourself of that.
Yeah. And I think, you know, from us, because this is really how this podcast was born, was us just having these 2-hour phone conversations.
Yes.
Talking about life, talking about, man, I'd really like to try X, Y, and Z in my life and see if that helps my health, if it helps my mindset, if I can actually make something come true.
Yeah.
And it's funny that how the universe just ends up speaking to you, because I think I've said this to Liz probably a million times, but I'm like, I manifested that, and then I kind of took a step towards it, and then, you know, the thing is supposed to happen, but every time it happens, I'm like, whoo, it happened. Oh my God, like I got a little sign.
Yeah.
And that's really what led us here, was just like, we can do this. We both have the same idea. It's coming. Again, talking about that self-confidence, we're no longer in the place of who am I to do that?
Yeah.
Because I think we both felt that for a while.
The just imposter syndrome.
All those people are so cool, and that's so cool they're doing that, but like, who am I to even do something similar or go after something that seems exciting to me?
Yeah.
And you're right. Life should be about fun and joy and going after things because it just interests you, because it excited you and it gave some type of, I don't know, juice back to your life. Yeah. So yeah.
It's putting ourselves out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a really big way. That I was scared for a long time because I'm not an expert in everything. I'm not even a novice level in a lot of topics that I think we're gonna cover or tackle on this show. But back to what you were saying about accountability, something to hold us to taking it to that next step with what we really want to be diving into, what we want to educate ourselves on, what we want to talk about. I mean, this is the biggest project and biggest thing I've ever done in my life. And probably to some that's like, oh, that's so cute. She's starting a podcast. That's a big deal.
Publicly. Yeah.
It is, it's huge, though. It's huge. I'm excited to be doing it with you.
Me too. But I'm glad you brought that up too. So yes, we are not here to give you advice or to tell you how to go after your dreams or what to do. We're really bringing you into those 2-hour conversations live with other people, taking down our shields and being vulnerable and talking about things in a way that I think would really help. Liz and I both have agreed on the fact that there's some people we really look up to, but you don't ever really get to see from the beginning who they were with the notebooks, who they were when they just had the idea. You know, a lot of times we only get to see them when they're already the person, when they're already doing the thing. They already met somebody and wrote the book or whatever. This is the beginning for us. And we're really excited to see where it goes. And if we become somebody, then
we are already somebody.
We'll get to see how it happened and how it unfolded. And bonus points if it inspires somebody. If it gets you thinking that you can go after your dreams too, that's freaking awesome. But I think we can both say that we're being totally selfish and this is just holding us accountable to do our thing. So whatever else is extra, great. But we are here to just go after our dreams and tell you the little things we're integrating into our lives to make them happen. It's called Life in Season. So a big part of this is that we are really trying to live in sync with Mama Earth. Moon cycles are a really big part of that. We both love paying attention to the new moon and the full moon, and we're not even really that knowledgeable on all the different rituals and what happens and the moon waves and how it affects the water. I've read a NASA article, but we really don't know. I keep wanting to cuss shit about it, and I couldn't think of a different way to say that. Besides what we've read and what we've started to integrate. So we're definitely going to learn more as we start integrating these different things. We both have a book on it.
But not our book. Y'all. No. We bought the book off Amazon and are going to be reading it.
We'll be telling you, how that affects our lives and how we just slowly create this routine for ourselves for success instead of just always thinking about it.
Where conversation sparks action.
And thank you. Thank you. And also living with the seasons. This is called Life in Season because we are trying to be more mindful of even our health. I think you and I both talked about why do I buy the same food all year? There's something really gross about that. I've had my own health issues, so I really want to focus on eating things in season, paying attention to the herbs and things that bloom in those seasons, and then switching it up every 3 months. So that I feel good. Tired of feeling sluggish, lost, disconnected from what I'm doing. Neither one of us really want to live on autopilot anymore. We're trying to like take action so that we're really consciously present in what we are trying to create and not just letting, I guess, life happen to us. We're trying to live life
in season.
In season. So I guess we already did a little bit about a bio. So you guys are like kind of getting to know us.
But let's maybe get into some specifics of our lives. Lives. Let me go ahead and reboot myself really quick. Tell me a little bit about yourself, Paige.
So, obviously I said 31s and 2 months, so I'm 31. And I have 2 little girls, one of which I had in the middle of college. I was super young. I was 21. So funny. This decade's restarting. And she's great. She gave me my, I guess, more focus in my life at that time. I had gone through quite a bit in my childhood that just left me feeling really insecure. Not necessarily supported in all the ways that I would have wished to be. Love my family, but there's just, I think we all feel like there are things that we definitely needed to be more successful, to feel more like ourselves, and to really go after our goals. So then in 2021, all these 21s, I had my second daughter, which was years later, and she is just a ball of fire and super funny, but man, yeah, she's a fierce woman. She will not grow up the same way I did, because that girl knows who she is and what she wants.
She is one of the most independent toddlers, and I know toddlers can be very independent, but that Sagittarius baby of yours is
just a big soul,
yes,
with a really big heart, but fierce at the same time. And so I bring them up to say that they definitely affect a lot of my life. I put some of the things that I've gone after a little bit on the back burner because I wanted to be so present with them, and because there was so much I was still learning about myself.
Yeah.
Especially with my oldest one, like, she really did grow up with me and her dad. We were still growing up at the same time, and that's heavily affected my life. So Dustin was able to graduate. I was not that that's important, but it took me on this path of entrepreneurship pretty young, where I constantly had these ideas, especially because of Piper, that I'm like, no, I want something bigger. And I feel like I've always been a big dreamer, but it really pushed me to be like, no, I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to try this business. I'm going to try to get promoted and do all these things. And at one point, I was making soaps and lotions. At one point, I was selling cannabis legally through a network marketing company. And that took me through a whole dynamic of not only learning entrepreneurship, but digital marketing and how to network and meet people. And that was really cool. So that can be a long conversation sometime. But yeah, especially younger, I was definitely the girl that was down to try most things.
You still are.
Yeah, it's true. And I've always been, fairly artistic and quirky. And I definitely really want to travel. My dad loves to travel. My grandmother on his side loved to travel. My mom is from Europe anyway. So I definitely have this big pool to start really wanting to save and just experience more cultures, especially in my adult years, and really get out there. And some of that's even just within the United States. But I feel better when I know I'm going somewhere soon, or that I have gone somewhere recently. My life feels more fulfilled. So I'd say that's a pretty big part of my soul too. And and more recently in the last 5 years, definitely health. I've had some autoimmune problems, and it's really refocused emotions with physical impairments and how your mind affects that, how your food affects that, how you move your body. When I was 26, I went through yoga teacher training, so it's been a few years. But that really taught me how to listen to my body, most importantly.
Yes.
Even when I started it, I'm like, it'd be really cool to teach yoga, but that really wasn't why I did it. I knew there was this deeper part of the practice that I had been trying out. And I wanted it to become more of my lifestyle. So Liz and I have talked about this. We would love to actually go abroad and just be immersed alone for like 3 weeks. just to make it even more part of my lifestyle, because it's been so long and it was done, close to my home over like a 6-month period. I would definitely love to immerse myself, but that spirituality is definitely a really big part of my life too. And it's definitely where I get a lot of my philosophy. Even in high school, I used to go to a Buddhist temple. So a lot of those mind training techniques have a lot to do with how I think about my life.
Yeah.
I always feel like there's some sign coming, deeper message into how I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and where it's going. And usually I'm just trying to like control my emotions enough to make it happen and not think about it too much and go after it. So I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty
description of myself.
Yeah. Very personal bio. I know bios are supposed to be personal, but like
Said more than I thought I would. So. All right. Tell me about you, Lizzie. How do you describe yourself?
Oh gosh, it's so funny. I actually, even in this moment, I don't like talking about myself. I don't know why that is. And I think, it's probably because I'm still developing my sense of self.
Yeah.
I'm 34. I am happily married to a wonderful, wonderful husband. We have no kids, and that's not really in our plan at all. We have many animals, a dog, 2 cats, and a bearded dragon. They are my fill-in children, I guess.
Her fur babies.
I don't like that term, but I don't know why. But like I said, I was a creative writing major in college. Left our college town just 2 classes or 2 credit hours shy of graduating. Doesn't get me down though, is what it is. I was in a kind of a bad relationship for about 5 years. So coming out of that and kind of hatching myself out of that cocoon was a really big self-discovery, learning experience and time for myself with just the types of relationships I was maintaining at that time. And that's really what set forth my growth journey and me finding a different level of spirituality. I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic middle school and high school. It was a very big part of my life until about 8th grade, where I was like, you know what, I'm done with this organized religion thing. And really renounced a lot of that for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But I found it now, and I found it in a new way, and it's opened up my heart and my mind and my soul in really new ways as well. We live in Indiana, good old Hoosier home state. I work in corporate America. I have done so for about 10 years, which is very not on brand from what college Liz wanted her life to look like.
Yeah.
And I think this moment right here, like my college self, my younger self, I'm just like, you did it, girl, you did it. You found it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much, the long and the short of it. I don't want to give too much away because I know so much is going to come up organically. But
I know. No, you're right.
Yeah, that's me. This is me.
Good.
This is us. So some background on our friendship, I think, is also really important.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. So Liz and I actually went to the same Catholic high school, but we didn't really know each other then.
No.
Funny enough, we met each other when we moved in together in college.
Yeah, because you were 2 years younger than me
in
high school. We ran in the same social circles.
Yeah.
Have a lot of mutual friends, but never hung out. We were in theater together. I was tech theater. You were on the acting side.
Yeah.
And one of our mutual friends, we were talking about like moving in together.
Yeah.
But you were already kind of like on track to live with Nikki. I was on track to live with somebody else. And so we just combined forces and all 4 of us moved into a house together.
Yeah.
And
best first 6 months of college in my life. It was super freaking fun.
I would give anything to go back and just a little fly on the wall for a day. Like just pick a random day and watch the way we lived our lives back then.
Because it was just seriously so much fun. Like we'd spend the mornings like Nikki, or one of our college roommates was in hospitality, so she was always cooking, which is like a really rare thing. I feel like now for college roommates to be doing, like having these homemade meals. But that was like some of the best moments. It was like cracking up of a bottle, having talks like we have now, these deep open talks at our kitchen table, just making food, bouncing around. A lot of times we'd end up like going on walks and finding random things to do, bumping into random people, and there was like so much freedom about it, which is why I think there's 3 of us really, but 2 of us are here. Why we feel so comfortable, I think, having these big idea talks. Yeah, because we had already had a little practice doing it at a very young age. So, yeah, we've known each other for well over a decade now. And we've grown up with each other. And instead of just sitting on the phone talking about our stuff, we're going after a dream together because it's helping us accomplish all these future projects, which I don't even know. Do we want to tell them what we plan to do, all of our projects? What we want to accomplish, I guess, during this experience of the podcast, because it might change. But
it might change, yeah. I mean, we want to start a blog. We want to start an online store. We want to write books. There's so much. This is the gateway to all of that for our future selves. And
it's funny, now that you said that, it literally made me think, like, honestly, even starting this just opened up a platform for us to do all of those things, like, in one space. Even me being a DJ, which, like, so I need to do some more self-work on that, because it's not funny. It's actually something I really want to do. But it probably is a platform where I can just, like, put it on there as a mix sometime. Like, maybe we'll have a dance session.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
You guys want to have a silent disco?
Yes. But I don't want to hold ourselves to too many tangible ideas or goals, because like we said at the beginning of this episode, we wanted to collaborate for such a long time, but never once did we visualize that it was going to be a podcast. No. So I think keeping your goals, in mind, but also knowing things are going to change at the drop of a hat, things can change and develop, is a really fine but good balance to find. So I'm along for the ride, baby. Like,
I agree. I was like, more of it's, I think, holding ourselves accountable to with what we want to do as this experience goes on. Like, we want to make sure that we're being mindful, and mindfulness can look like meditating. It can look like yoga. It can look like lighting a candle and holding fun crystals, or taking a walk, or talking to our dog, like whatever it is. But we want to make sure that we're including it, I think, in our daily lives more than we have. Yeah. In a way where it's really progressing. Like, it's not, I just journaled for a couple of weeks and it fell off. Like, we really want to see what it's like on a long-term scale. If we just keep doing all those things that make us feel good and talking about it, because there's so many different things that we are going to talk about, whether it's with the season or with the moons or the rituals. We want to see how that really plays out and what that brings out in us.
Yeah. I think you teed us up really well for something else we wanted to just share with our audience, because we're podcasters now and have an audience, hopefully. But our show structure. Yeah. So the way we have developed and planned and imagined that our show is going to go is aligning with moon cycles. Yeah. So new moon episodes, full moon episodes, not obviously on days that they happen, but around the same time. Yeah. And sharing, lore, stories, whatever we learned, sharing with you all. Yeah. We're going to have some episodes about rituals, which I am really excited to talk about in more detail.
Because I think we're going to end up being pretty vulnerable with this platform on what we're manifesting and how we plan to accomplish it. And and all the different little things we're concocting up to make it happen. And seeing if they work. And if they don't work for us, guys, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. But
take everything we say with a grain of salt, please.
So remember, we are playing and experiencing and hoping.
We're beginners at everything. So that's why I think because this is a weekly show, so expect 4 episodes a month. And that's why I think for our, we have a miscellaneous episode slotted. Yeah. Where we're still kind of playing around with how those are going to look, which I'm sure if you are listening to us be like, we have a miscellaneous episode slotted for you guys. You're like, do they have it together? The answer is we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
But that's what makes this, I think, a variety show, and it gives us a lot of room to, if there's something that we want to continue having a conversation on, we got it.
Yeah.
So you know some of what to expect, but nothing's permanent except change, right?
It's going to surprise us and surprise you at the same time.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for being with us here.
Mm-hmm. We'll drop
at the very beginning.
It's at the very beginning.
The very, very beginning. Or it's not just B-roll. We're talking about it. We're experiencing it.
Figuring it out as we go. Like all of us are on this planet Earth.
Yeah. And we really are playing. It's summertime. You know, we're having fun with that. We're being soft with ourselves and loving on ourselves and learning so much. Yeah. So as we transition to the next season, we're definitely, I think, going to be even more focused on what we want it to bring. Yeah. And we'll share that with you guys. Yeah. So look forward to hearing about rituals and moons and philosophy that we love in our next couple episodes.
Yes. And we'll drop in the show notes where you can follow us on Instagram, social media, all the good stuff so you can keep up with us and all the good stuff like
see
I just
where life takes us, okay? Thank you so much for joining us on Life in Season.
And remember, keep your heart open,
your mind at ease,
and your soul nourished.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, we did it! The first episode. Fuck yes. Oh, it feels so good to have the first one done. Thank you, Adam.
Yes, thank you, Adam. What kind of pizza or beer or whatever do you like? Because
you will be getting some.
You'll be getting something.
Actually, I prefer coffee.
And sweet, sticky.
Sin semilla.
Production, assistant, and
Additional
music by
The Practitioner.